Hello, everyone. It's Mike Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. And if I'm hard to hear, it could be because my microphone is down. So sorry about that. Here I am. So calm down. Calm down. All right. So we have President Trump is on the cusp, I believe, of bunker bustering Iranian bunkers filled with and 12 of them. It's not like we go after one and go after their nuclear armaments, which I believe they already have nuclear weapons. They were just trying to design a reliable vehicle for delivering them. All right, so they have. I think they've had backpack or suitcase, however you want to term them, small nukes, for a long time. And delivering those, obviously someone has to physically carry those in and set those off. That was one of the things that special forces guys with their backpack nukes were trained to do. And we all thought it was a one-way mission. It was like, we're gonna set that thing and it's gonna go poof. And so I mean, we all thought that, all of us. I remember talking to some of my some of the Green Beret bubbas, and they're like, "Yeah, that's a one-way mission." And we all thought that same. We all thought it was a one-way mission. You're expendable as a military, as a military operator. They vaccinate the hell out of us and test us and poke us and then make us think that it's all for God and country. So, and it is to a great extent. That's what we do. That's why we do the things we do. Regardless of the military-industrial complex, using us often, but ultimately it is the American military might that has kept us free for a long time, until, of course, we were infiltrated by the Democrat Party and the deep state. So it is a time that we're cleaning that internally, but there's still problems around the world. And this has festered for a long time. There's never been a president with the cojones that could go after this threat until now, President Trump. Now, President Trump, at one time, you remember when he took out Soleimani, who was basically the general that was in charge of all the terrorist activity, guys, from the Iranians, has been going on for a long time. And Trump had the cojones, to go after their general where no one else would touch that, because everybody was afraid of Iran. And President Trump, took out Soleimani, their general. I think it was in Iraq. And then Iran, shot a whole bunch of missiles at American bases. Some people were injured. But he didn't strike back, because that's the way President Trump is. He had other options. There was one time where they dropped a drone that was near, but maybe it went over into Iranian airspace. Regardless, they shut down a drone, and there was talk there was going to be, and I even saw it. I think it was very, very close. And President Trump at the last minute said, "Nope, we're not going to go bomb those people, because you can't tell me that we're perfectly going to take out the military targets and not harm anybody." So he backed off. He backed off because of that. So he's obviously not a warmonger, but he will go after and defeat the targets like al-Baghdadi, who I was jumping up and down when I was in Iraq, saying that, why don't we go after him, when I was working for the CIA? And no one could answer that for me, because they didn't have the cojones, right? So we know there's a lot of manipulation that's out there, the deep state manipulation. They use a lot of these characters out there. Maybe there's some kind of connection with Iran. It wouldn't surprise me, because basically the reason why Iran is not free is because MI6 and CIA, they took down their rightful prime minister. So this is a long-term process that's been going on since the 50s. And so we're looking at a very long time, obviously, We're looking at 75 years of manipulation within that space by the CIA, MI6, and of course Mossad. So the three amigos of the Satan, right? So they have done some very bad things around the world. So when they took down basically the prime minister, like I talked about yesterday, of Iraq or Iran, I'm sorry, they basically upset the balance within the Middle East. And from that unbalanced situation, the Shah came in, who's being used by the CIA and Mossad and MI6, and eventually the people struck back, and they chose someone that was going to, they thought was going to give them freedom again from these foreign mercenaries and so forth. But unfortunately, they got ensnared in a trap, which was very, very incredibly bad. And let's look at the pretty much the constitution of Iran right now. So the constitution of Iran, basically, like I have seen, has promoted terrorism around the world. And I've seen that throughout pretty much my entire career in the SEAL teams and in the CIA. So for, I would say, 35 years that I was in the SEAL teams and the CIA, I would say probably a good 25 to 30 of those years, there was manipulation from the Middle East. And the Middle East, when you talk about the Middle East and terrorism and instability and so forth, it all goes back to Iran. All of it, right? And I've seen that. We'll come in and clean a place up like Iraq, and then the Iranians come in and screw it all up again, right? And it was that way over and over and over again. Every place I went to, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Lebanon, I saw it happen in Libya. We've all seen it happen in Libya. We've seen it happen in Syria more recently. So it's a constant Iranian issue, and they keep coming. We'll clean something up, and they'll come in and they'll screw it up even worse. And then we'll clean that up, and they'll screw it up even worse. They'll keep coming. They keep coming. They're not going to stop. And the reason why they're not going to stop is that's part of the constitution of Iran. So when the prime minister was removed, and they inserted the Shah, and then the Shah was removed, and the Khomeinis came in, then it basically disintegrated to the lowest form of consciousness, constitutional consciousness, that it could go to, and that's where we're at right now. So let's look at. I'm gonna read a little bit of this to you guys. We're gonna follow this. Their constitution has to be reformed, and I believe that if they get the Shah's son back in there, I believe they're going to. They, being the Persians, and the world will get resolution here, but not until. So Cyrus Force Iran, we, the Iranian Americans of Cyrus Force, left our birth country, Iran, due to a constitution that was imposed upon our countrymen by the Ayatollahs. We bring this to your attention today because we asked for a voice within the Senate. So it goes on to talk about how the Ayatollahs' constitution came to the surface when they took American hostages for 444 days. It said since then they have been committing these types of cruel acts of inhumanity, including incarcerating and murdering innocents. Yes, all around the Middle East, guys. So this, the first is the security. So this is what they proposed: the security of Israel. This should be number one policy of the U.S. administration in the Middle East. And this is what Reagan said: Israel is the strategic treasure of the United States. It is the only democracy in the Middle East. The second is the balance of power, human rights, and freedoms of the people of the Middle East. And when the people of the Middle East are given this option, they will embrace it very quickly. I've talked to them. They all want to come to America. They hate America, but they want to come to America. So they hate, like we have hated, the liberal power structure. The liberals basically, you know, have power because, you know, people like me and, Reagan and, uh, you know, uh, obviously Trump have given them a powerful nation, and they destroy that. They use that, and they try and push this around the world, and the world doesn't like it. So, like you have to be trans, you have to let transgenders have their say. It's like the world doesn't like that. They don't like that at all, guys. So, however, there's been proven in the book Imagine the Fall of the Ayatollah's Constitution that full recognition of Israel by Saudi Arabia will eliminate both threats to Israel forever. So they go on to talk about the Wahhabi, Sunni, and Shia sects of Islam. And so they go on to talk about how, the Saudis will always kill the Shia, which are the Iranians, the Ayatollahs types, right? If they had the option of killing any of those groups. So it goes on to talk about how the introducing anti-American rhetoric and demanding that the world convert to Islam. This is the Iranian constitution as it's been controlled and changed. So they've changed the constitution, and this is what it says: and anti-American and, of course, Israel rhetoric. Article 11, institution of jihad, which means holy war, and Islamic custom around the world. Around the world. Here in America, they're setting up here in America too. We know this. Article 14, retribution of non-respect and jihad. So you have to have respect for the Islamic culture and basically take a knee to them. You've seen President Trump around the world. He does not take a knee. They basically salute and bow down to him. So they see that there is this need for an American style of constitution throughout the Middle East, which will give freedom to the people of the world. That doesn't mean that America comes in with boots marching on the ground like the neocons want and take over and then enforce our way of life on them. That's what they don't like I just talked about. Because we'll come in and knock hell out of the Islamist, and then the liberals come in and screw it all up. We just can't do it anymore. We can't trust the liberals. We have to change our own form of government. We have an excellent constitution, but we have a form of government that has been created by the liberals, which is democracy, not a republic. They keep forcing democracy on us, which is one of the lowest forms of government there is. The governing powers in Iran, the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary powers operate under the supervision and absolute authority of the religious leadership. We have freedom of religion here in the United States, but it does not control us or our Constitution. You have freedom to, worship how you want, but that worship does not come in and dictate how people will act. The subversion of groups of people, like women are considered the lowest form of in the Islamic constitution. They don't have hardly any rights, if they have rights at all. They're constantly degraded. So that will have to be changed, because the people of the Iranian Persian women are over it. I promise you. Some of them are brainwashed, of course, and they don't want to get out of line because they get beat if they do. So they just do what they got to do to survive, guys. Article 60, executive powers are exercised by the President of the Republic and his ministers, except in the affairs directly related to leadership, which means that Islamic ministers exercise all law. So remember, this extreme religious ideology is what's governing Iran right now, and is pushing this ideology around the world, and especially in the Middle East. The Middle East, as everyone hates Iran and the Ayatollahs. They all hate them, right? But they don't want to get out of line because these guys have a lot of power and can sway people, as we saw. They took over the Persians, who for thousands of years were the most powerful force in that whole area. And then we saw that collapse with the Ayatollahs. Supports the struggle of the oppressed for their right to get rid of their oppressor anywhere in the world, called jihad. So they talk about how you can see Constitution directly influential in creating chaos and hatred in the world of non-Islamists. And that's also for Islamists, is people that celebrate Islam, not Islamists, because that's the extreme form. But if you're not an Islamist with these extreme ideologies, then you're considered, you can be killed too. And that's why the Saudi Arabians would, if they had one bullet for Christians or different sects and so forth, they would have that one bullet to take out the Shia of Iran. So that is pretty much what they're recommending. It says a democratic regime in Iran makes this nation the most natural ally of the United States of America. So, they say democratic, but like I said, democracy is the lowest form of government. What they mean is by the people, for the people, right? That's a republic. So a lot of people say Democrats, like, or democratic form of government. We need to have the right language, as you guys know. There can be no fear. There can be no hatred. There has to be love. Right? So if you have that within any wording and so forth, if you have democracy, which is basically control and fear, as we've seen from the Democrats, then and slavery, if we continue to say we want a democracy around the world, that's what we're going to get. So we have to create the right verbiage. Like, we don't use hate and fear. We use love, right, as a vibrational frequency. And with that vibrational frequency, we can collapse the negative governments around the world, even our own, right? So that's where we're going. Democracy. That's right, Richard. So it's not the form of government that we want. So we have to learn the right verbiage, right? It's like when I teach you martial arts, I don't teach you defensive tactics, because that stops motion, and then you're vulnerable when you stop the motion. It's all offensive. Your mindset is offensive, and your strikes and your movements are offensive. You are in control. And if you don't have control of the target, if you're offensive, eventually you will have control. And then, but if you come in defensive, eventually you will lose. Defensive postures always lose, right? Against an offensive fighter, always. You will never win against an offensive fighter. I don't care how good you are, right? And we've seen those people that have all these great martial arts, and then you have like that, Western cowboy that comes in and just knocks the hell out of them, right? So, because he's just a hardcore fighter, and that'll win over knucklehead, defensive fighters all the time. So we need to get away from the defensive democracy language in our own government. We can't export that because that's what the liberals want. That we, the offensive mindset people that create a good society, and we have good foundations, integrity, and so forth. It gets compromised by these demon rats. So that system has to go away. All right, and I think it's very easy that system is going to go away because we saw in the 2020 and 2022 election cycle uh, a lot of people that went to China. So and they're treasonous. They're treasonous. They allowed for unfair elections, and they're very involved with China, and that's sentence, right? So we're going to see. It's going to be easy to create a more balanced form of government when you just take everybody out, right? So that's what we're going to see, guys, because we have a completely compromised. I won't say completely. There might be one or two people in that whole organization. Trump's one of them that are not compromised. Pretty much all of them are, right? And then some that know they're compromised have decided to help overcome the corruption, and they're working now to do that, right? And some of these people just, whoever's in charge. You see Lindsey Graham, he flip flops back and forth. Never gets anything done. He's just a talker. He's a neocon promoting violence around the world, but he has no love. He has no love. He's a user of people, and he's he likes young men in D.C. Right? So you people of South Carolina, you need to be aware of that. Right? Please get that boy out of there. He's a bad boy in many different ways. All right. So, and I say that because I grew up in South Carolina, so I can say that. So, Tehran, and people have been correcting me on pronunciations, so I appreciate that. I try. Iran, not Iran, or Iran, Iran. All right. So I don't know. You hear it pronounced a lot of different ways. Who knows? But Iran, let's say, and Tehran, whatever, turns ghost town as fear of escalation with Israel spreads. So the president of the United States said, "Better get out of there," and everybody ran. Like he gave a warning to the people of Tehran to evacuate, and he said that a couple nights ago, and people evacuated. Of course, there's still people there. Of course, they did the same thing to Pompeii. They said you need to evacuate because the volcano is going to explode. And some people stayed, as we know, because we can see their bodies encased, in ash, and the pyroclastic, flame thing that came down and just devastated everybody, turned them into dust. But this is something that we're going to see in some of these cities. They're actually starting to evacuate, many cities in the Middle East right now, and we'll talk about that. So, as Israel and Iran exchange strikes for a fifth consecutive day, large parts of the Iranian capital have fallen eerily silent. Tehran, usually teeming with life, now resembles a ghost town in areas gripped by tension, fear, and uncertainty. Remember that love vibration, guys. All right. So don't be in that. If you feel it's time to move and go somewhere else, kind of like what I'm feeling right now, I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to go to high ground in the next few days. So if you're feeling that, you need to listen to your intuitions, and we'll see how that turns out. But the same thing with there's no fear. It's just this and maybe there's nothing going to happen here, maybe in Florida, but I think it's going to get a lot of wetness. But there is going to be these instances where you're compelled to move in a certain direction, and if you blow it off, you know how that works out. I should have listened to that intuition. I should have listened to that. All right, so I've learned to listen. So it's time to go to higher ground. The conflict began Friday with Israel launching attacks on Iran's nuclear and military facilities. Iran hit back at its arch rival with missile and drone strikes of its own, with civilians in both countries facing waves of heavy fire. And of course, not only facing them, but also dying and many injured on both sides. Right. So that's kind of it's back and forth. Like I said last night, rock'em sock'em robots. So just keep going, you knock the block off, and then you push it back down, and then they start doing the rock'em sock'em stuff again. All right. Iran's supreme leader calls out Trump, threatens irreparable damage if U.S. joins Israeli conflict. Now there has been talk, and we're going to move into that conversation that a lot of people are having today and have been filtering in over the last several days, but it's really reached a fever pitch today where they're talking about using B-2 bombers because Israel does not have B-2 bombers that can deliver a 30,000-pound bunker buster that we have. That seems to be the only thing that all the experts believe can go down and penetrate deep enough to get all of the nuclear material that Iran has been hiding in up to 12 different sites, right? So a B-2 can handle two 30,000-pound bombs. But these 30,000-pound bombs, just one of them is not enough. You'll have to have multiple bombs to penetrate deep enough into some of these areas. So it will be, and of course there's 12 of them, and I think we have 6 B-2 bombers at Diego Garcia, so they're going to be busy, right? A couple of them are going to take off, and then a little while later, a couple more are going to take off. Then a little while later, a couple more are going to take off, and they're just going to do back and forth. They're going to get a little, I don't know if they get pilot rest, but they'll probably just change pilots. They'll come back and they'll get air refueled back and forth because these B-2 bombers can strike anywhere in the world with aerial refueling. And so coming from Diego Garcia, whatever the flight time is and the refuel and dropping a couple bombs and then going back for more. And it's going to be round robin. But what is that going to do once that starts? If it starts, because Trump has said he has that option. Not necessarily that he's going to do that. So this is what Iran's supreme leader has said. The Americans should know that any U.S. military intervention will undoubtedly be accompanied by irreparable damage. Khamenei said in a television address, the U.S. entering in this matter, this war, is 100% to its own detriment. It's kind of like, remember we had Saddam Hussein. It will be the mother of all wars, and it was done within like a couple of weeks. It's like it was done. So 2 or 3 weeks, he was done. He was like hiding in a hole, and then we found him, and then he was hung. All right. So, and there's people been saying that's going to happen to Khamenei. So I don't know. It was already suspected that the U.S. was involved in the malicious move carried out by the Zionist regime. Now, the Zionist regime, a lot of people, have jumped on that and talked about that, and there is something to that, of course, just like there is something to 90% or more of American Congress and Senate that have basically committed treason, right? So this Zionist theme that has been going on for quite some time, like I said, there is something to that, yes, but it does not control America, guys. Israel does not control America unless there's someone in power like a Biden type or Biden puppet masters. Even though Biden was in power, we know that Trump Daddy was in charge, guys. So, there is that semblance of being in control and in charge. That's until basically I strike you in your throat and you choke to death. All right. So there, that can happen for a lot of these people, and it's coming. It's coming. Right. So they're gonna talk. They're gonna have their rhetoric. They're gonna grandstand and threaten, and everybody's going. And some people will be like, "Oh, don't do anything." It's like, Iran over the last 70 years has been like an oil leak that has been polluting the coast of, let's say, the world, and birds get all oily. We've had these leaks before, and people clean the birds and they let them go, and the birds get back in the water and they get oily again, and then you have all the bleeding hearts are like, oh, yeah, America is polluting. We need to stop polluting. No, it is Iran that is polluting. You need to go to the source. Stop trying to fix the little thing on the shore. You need to go deeper and find where the source is, and that is in Iran. Everyone knows this from that area. I have spent a good portion of my life in that area. I've worked on very detailed missions where I saw all of the Iranian influence, guys. So it is hidden. It is hidden from most. But those of us that have been in these, top secret intel organizations, we know. We know who the baddie is, and that baddie is the Iranian leadership. All right, so we have to take that out. That has to be removed, and you're going to have all of the peacemongers that claim that if we take away all the guns, there won't be any violence. Well, ask everyone else out there what that looks like. Ask Australia, ask Germany, ask all of Europe, ask Vietnam, ask Germany back in the day, right? So you can play that game if you want to, but that's a stupid game, right? If you want to continue to kowtow to the Iranian regime, this shit show continues. If you want to take it out and you get behind taking it out, then we're going to have peace in the Middle East. And like I want to go explore Iran, right? Iran, and look at all the history and meet the Persians. And I'd love to do that. Who knows? Maybe even create a business there. So because that'll be a great place to create. We'll have great opportunities, I think, in the near future. But there will be those that are going to whine and complain like they have for every one of these events. There's the people of Iran, Persians, will be very ecstatic. You know that only 30% of the the Persian people, are Muslim. Wow. So you're pressing. It's kind of like here in America where you have all these illegal aliens coming over, and like 90% of people don't want that, but you have like this 10% stupid group that thinks that's okay and good, and that the rest of us should abide by that. No, and then you were lucky because you got some dumbass that was put in power that fully went with that. It's like, you wanted the borders open, and we're going to open them up. And I think that at that point, there's maybe 1 or 2% left that believe that that's a good idea. So when asked if the U.S. is moving closer to striking Iranian nuclear facilities, Trump offered a non-committal, I may do it, I may not do it, right? I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do, right? If I'm going to punch you in your throat, I'm not going to telegraph that, right? If you need to have your esophagus closed off and do a slow choke to death, I'm not going to telegraph that, right? So that's pretty much what he's doing right here. They want to negotiate. I said, why didn't you negotiate with me before? So he did 60 days of negotiation, and then on day 61, he said, you guys don't want peace. And they don't, because I told you their constitution. They're going to keep coming at us until they're stopped. They're going to keep coming at us until they're stopped. So now we have all this death and destruction. But Trump is showing everyone that they don't want to negotiate. They want to destroy. They're psychopaths. They're megalomaniacs. And you can't deal with people like that. Ask James Bond. Right? So James Bond's been teaching us this for a long time. I remember as a kid, I want to be like James Bond. Boy, I did that and so much more. So on the subject of whether he gave Iran an ultimatum, the president said, you could say so. Maybe you could call it the ultimate ultimatum. So they're not gonna come along, guys. I read you the Constitution. I told you how they have been for the last 70 plus years. And I have seen that from my own eyes for 35. Well, actually longer, but I was involved in it at least 25, maybe 30. So, and then since then, I've seen this, continue to fester and get worse. And this is where we're at. So, like Trump has said before, he says the patient has undergone surgery. The surgery was successful, and the patient will live. What was he talking about? What was he talking about? Well, one of those surgeries is going to have to be surgically removing the cancer of the Iranian leadership. All right. So if that doesn't happen, then it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. Now, we may and possibly will see terrorist attacks around the world and possibly here in America. And then their Iranian regime will say, we told you. And then all the bleeding liberals that believe in no guns will say, see, we should have listened. And now people are dying. Yep. So we're going to get that, guys. But, it could get could be quite a little shitstorm coming. Juan O'Savin has said that it's going to get so bad that people are going to be jumping out of windows, right? Presidential Doomsday Plane lands near D.C. amid rising tensions in the Middle East. The only other time this has been used was by little boy Bush during 9/11. And we know how that was choreographed, all right? Reading the kid book upside down, right? And the Secret Service came in and whispered in his ear when building Tower 1 collapsed, and then Tower 2 collapsed, and he just sat there. I would have been up and out of there so damn quick, but not little boy Bush, because he was told to stay there. He was told to stay there and create this image, and that's what we still see today. So here it is, Doomsday. And usually this is reserved for, when the shit hits the fan. So this landed at Joint Base Andrews. Used to be Andrews Air Force Base, but now it's Joint Base. Late Tuesday night, following a highly irregular flight path from Barksdale Air Force Base in Shreveport, Louisiana. Irregular flight. I wonder why that was. Are they trying to throw off everybody looking at it? So there it is. Scrambled from Barksdale to circling over Virginia, possibly due to something large happening tonight with Israel and Iran. So that was last night, but this is another night. And the people of Tehran have evacuated. So what's coming? Is there something coming tonight? Is there something coming for all of the bases that the United States has in the Middle East? There are now 3 aircraft carriers that are moving towards the Middle East, and there has been a lot of planes and jets that have moved to the Middle East. There's been refuelers that have moved to the Middle East. So something's afoot. And of course, President Trump has that option if he wants to, but maybe he won't. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. Maybe I'll chop you in the throat. Maybe I won't. Right? You're not gonna see it until it's done. It's like you're choking to death, and you're like, oh, you didn't see that coming, did you? Because I didn't tell you, and I didn't telegraph it. So if it happens, it happens, and then we're gonna find out who's on our side and who's not. Americans warned to urgently evacuate Israel by air and sea as Iran crisis deepens. U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee, like Mike Huckabee, I got his book, had an autograph. My producer, lovely wife, went to an event that he had because I couldn't make it because I got called up last minute by the CIA. We need you. And they like to do that. It's like I'm just home, just like enjoying life and have like a few weeks left. And they're like, we need you now. Here's set up your trip and pay for it yourself, and we'll reimburse you after a month. Right? Okay. So usually I have to spend like $20,000 to do their work to get overseas. And then if my paperwork was perfect, there was one time where I was off by like, I think 10 cents. So they threw it back at me. It's like, really, guys? Like 10 cents? It was off 10 cents. You can't cover that? I mean, you guys make like crazy amounts of money from all kinds of stuff like money laundering, drug trafficking, and all kind of stuff. Couldn't you just like say, yeah, you're good. You're good, Jaco. 10 cents, you do a lot of shit for us. So no, that's the way the CIA is, guys. Not so good. All right. So we got Iran and Israel have been trading blows over the last week. Of course, we know that. And the State Department issued a voluntary evacuation order. It's kind of like those people that were, there in Pompeii. It's a voluntary evacuation order. You can stay if you want. You can die, or you can stay if you want. Maybe I'll chop your throat. Maybe I won't. So it's up to you. It's up to you. It's up to you whether you leave or not. So it's I'd get out. I'd get out. I'd get out while the getting's good. Why would you stay? Things are getting really bad. So let's listen to 4-star General Keane. He's a neocon. And what is a neocon, Mike? Well, let me explain. Neocon is a shortened term for neoconservative, a political ideology that emerged in the United States during the 1960s. Neoconservatives generally advocate for a strong U.S. foreign policy, often involving military intervention, and promote democracy abroad, while also supporting free markets and traditional values domestically. So that's a neoconservative, a neocon, and it's all a con game to me. But sometimes you get some good information from some of these people. So General Keane, who I look at, like he's always pushing war. They brought out Keane. Oh, they want to push a war. So let's listen to General Keane. He knows stuff. President Trump gave him some kind of freedom medal or something, and I guess he talks to President Trump. He basically gives President Trump information. So knowing that, we need to regardless of the affiliation for some of these people, it's a good idea to listen to 4-star General Jack Keane.
The U.S. military has been sort of mapping out what this would look like. Here's what the New York Times writes. The exercises led to the conclusion that one bomb would not solve the problem. Any attack on Fordo would have to come in waves, with B-2s releasing one bomb after another down the same hole, and the operation would have to be executed by an American pilot and crew. Is there a second option, a ground option, that the president might have on his menu of choices?
Well, certainly there are a number of options, and the real issue is if the United States is going to do something here, it's likely going to be from the air because we have that capability. And let me say that if the United States was leading this campaign and Israel was supporting us, this would be a very complex and challenging set of targets to deal with Iran's complete nuclear enterprise that exceeds more than 12 bases out there where this enterprise is located.
So these B-2 bombers, so think about these underground facilities. They probably stretch out a little bit, don't you think? And maybe there's some levels, yes. And maybe there's some twists and turns, some blast doors. I've seen some underground facilities that have massive blast doors, guys. So friggin' thick and metal. So, we could possibly, knock hell out of some of it. Will we get all of it? Really, the only way you're going to get all of it is if you blast the hell out of them and take away their capability, and then eventually somebody gets some boots on the ground to really examine this. And I don't know what that looks like. I don't see American troops in there. I don't see it happening. I don't see Israeli troops in there. I don't see it happening. I see eventually Iranians that will make sure this happens. But to get there, we need to make sure we completely annihilate all of the capability of these radical Islamist guys. We have to. That's why this bombing campaign is going to continue, because they can say, "Well, we'll talk now, Uncle, we'll talk now," and then you ever get in those wrestling matches, fights when you're a little kid, and then the kid that you're like winning against, he says, "Okay, okay," and then you let them up, and then they start fighting you again. That's the way the Iranians are, right? So if you take away their capability, I found that if the kid's crying, then and they're and everyone sees them, they're belittled. That's usually they're not going to fight you anymore. I don't have to throat chop them, but but I can submit them pretty good. And if they're crying, they're like patting me, and they're most of the time not going to push back. So that's what we have to do right now with Iran. We have to take away all of their capability that they're going to have for a long time. So the only way to do that, unfortunately, is going to be through B-2 bombers.
Some of them are buried under the ground, and they've spread out their enrichment, they've spread out the centrifuges to make this a difficult challenge. And the Ayatollah and his people have always had the thought, and this is why they never dismantled their nuclear program as a result of negotiations. They believe that they can absorb an air attack, and because so many of their capability is buried under the ground, they can survive that air attack in terms of capability, recover, and rebuild. They've always considered that to be a better option.
Okay, so how quickly Iran could enrich uranium for a nuclear weapon? 2 to 3 days, one weapon. Well, this has been going on for like several days, so we're probably seeing at least one weapon there, right? So if this continues for a month, you got 11, 10 additional from that one. This continues on, then we're looking at every month. We're probably going to see another 10 to 15 more weapons, right? So as it stretches on, so I think they already have weapons. Like I said, they were working on delivery systems. Now, when I have seen in my remote view a delivery system happening over Israel, and I see it in the northeast corner of Jerusalem, or Tel Aviv. I'm sorry, not Jerusalem, but Tel Aviv. Then the method of the aircraft that's coming in is so high tech. The feeling that I get is Chinese. So I don't know. I know the Chinese have been giving the Iranians a lot of capabilities. So I don't know if they've given them some kind of technology that most of the world's not aware of right now. But I believe when I saw it, I was like, yeah, that technology is not new, but most people won't recognize it. So it's getting hairy, and I think that we're going to have to see this thing go to the next level.
Then voluntarily dismantling the program which is what the Obama administration wanted them to do, and they conceded very early in the negotiation and gave up the idea. That is the Obama administration. The Trump administration worked.
So again, the Obama administration, the liberals, very much like the Islamist. So that's why they get along so good. So Obama's like, oh, you're gonna like, stop? Okay, good. Like, and like I told you, it's like that, wrestling match on the playground, and you get the better edge on the guy or girl, and they're like, okay, I'll stop, and then they get up and then they like brush themselves off, and then they come at you again. That's what Iran continues to do, and they will continue to do that until they're taken down completely.
Many weeks, and got the same response pretty much from the Ayatollah and his negotiators. They weren't about to do it, and the reason is pretty obvious, because if he voluntarily gave it up with verification, it's gone. An airstrike, as complex and tough as it is, he believes, and he has advisors to tell him that, he can survive it and recover the enterprise and rebuild it and still put a nuclear package together that will threaten Israel and the region. That's where these guys are.
General, just getting word now out of Tel Aviv, the Israeli military saying it's completed yet another wave of attacks in western Iran, saying that happened a short time ago. Look at the U.S. Navy assets in the region. We were told yesterday the USS Nimitz was heading westbound through the Singapore Strait. We certainly want to make sure that our 40,000 men and women of that region are taken care of and in good safekeeping. Back to this bunker buster possibility. 30,000-pound weapon dropped by a B-2 bomber possibly on this mountain. What is your level of confidence that one or two or more could do the job?
I have no idea how many it would take. I leave that to the people that are involved in the details of planning, if that's what's taking place. But I do think over time, we have the capability to render that particular site ineffective. It's obviously underneath a mountain, and I think the engineers are contributing to how you do that, but it likely has to collapse down on itself. So I think it's achievable, but it's a formidable target, and it would take likely successive attacks to do it. But the reality is, the issue is, what if we don't do that? And what if we take a knee that some people are saying that this is going to lead to another forever war? And let's take that off the table pretty quick here. The United States and Israel has no intention of conducting a ground invasion of Iran, similar to what we did in Iraq and Afghanistan, the purpose of which was for regime change, was for occupation, which led to nation building. And the length of that protracted the war, and that is a lousy taste people have in their mouth about it. But that's not on the plan here for anybody.
All right, so the neocons will same thing. I'll stop fighting. I won't do the boots on the ground. And then it's a lot of people are like, well, Trump said there would be no war. Yeah. So a lot of people are like pushing that narrative. Trump said there would be no war. Well, there hasn't been as much war as there was in 2024, which was the most active time in history. Well, not history, but since 1946. Of course, shortly after 1945 would have been one of the most active times, of course, during World War II. But 1946, there was still a lot of activity that was going on, and 2024 was the most active period for conflict since 1946. Since 1946. So that tells you about who are the real neocons, right? That's the Democrat Party. They're the ones that start the wars, and the Republicans stop them. So that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing how this has basically been ginned up, and we have a very good president that's going to stop this stuff. So when Trump was in office last time, there was a period of time where there was little to no war, Remember when the COVID-19 hit? And everything got shut down. That was still during Trump's administration. Everything was shut down all around the world, and there was no war. How about that? So he should get credit for that. So he's gonna play the game. He's gonna let the bully think that they have the upper hand, and then he's going to do the throat chop, right? So that's what we got going on here. And he'll let all the neocons come out and talk their talk, and then he's going to do something that's going to like just crush everything. Now, somebody asked me, why don't they use the same thing they used in Lahaina and in LA? That would be the directed-energy weapon. Directed-energy weapon is only going to go so deep. It can go down to the point where it will and has melted the pipes underground so that water doesn't flow. How about that? We've seen that in Paradise, and we also saw that in Lahaina, of course, where the fire department couldn't fight fires because they couldn't get water, and that was because the directed-energy weapons were actually burning and melting the piping. So we've seen that. Yes, it can go, but only so deep, right? So it can take out a lot of stuff on the surface, but we need those big bunker busters that are going to have to go one after another on top of each other to get down and get that done, right? So let's look at a little bit more, and then I'll show you guys some information on the bunker busters. President Trump on potential U.S. strike on Iran. I may do it. I may not do it. Let's hear from the president's mouth. Right. So here he is, and look at these smiling gentlemen. They're putting up flags on either side of the White House right now. The day they did that. So here he's out there. Of course, he's got the "Make America Great Again," and I got "Making America Great Again." So we're not going to make America great. We're making America great again.
About whether you are moving closer, you believe the U.S. is moving closer to striking Iranian nuclear facilities. Where's your mindset on that?
You say that, right? You don't seriously think I'm going to answer that question. Will you strike the Iranian nuclear component? And what time exactly, sir? Sir, would you strike it? Would you please inform us so we can be there and watch? You don't know that I'm going to even do it. You don't know. I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this.
President Trump's a throat puncher. He's not going to let you know. He's not going to let you know when he's going to punch you in your throat. You get close enough, you get with the arms for length, you talk shit, it's going to be over, right? You're gonna slowly die, right? And that's the way I think we're going to see the Ayatollahs of Iran. They're going to do the slow death, and they're going to like telegraph to the world just how bad they are. So you know how this works. We saw this for 4 years, guys. We saw this for 4 years. The awakening process. I know it's painful. It's very painful for those of us that are awake. Look at me. I've known this for like 30 years, right? 30 plus years. I've known who the baddies were, and no one would do anything about it. So it's been a long time coming for me, but I think we're on the cusp of that, and we got a throat chopper that knows how to do that, and it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So let's talk about this. B-2 Spirit stealth bomber can carry 2 GBU 57A/B MOP bunker buster bombs. The military ordinance has all kind of crazy stuff on it. The backpack nuke was a B-54 Saddam, right? So yeah, I remember learning that, and that was heavy. It was pretty heavy, right? And you had to like free fall with it. So it had to you had to strap it between your legs. Oh boy, it's like that's a powerful bomb between your legs, right? So each GBU, also known as the Massive Ordnance Penetrator MOP. So those of you that have slung a mop around, I've done that. I wish I had one of those massive ordnance penetrators. Right? It's just boom with that mop, boom, mop it. It weighs 30,000 pounds, which exceeds the B-2's usual ordnance capacity. The B-2 is the only aircraft currently configured to carry these massive bombs. So a lot of people said we'll give Israel the MOP. No, they don't have the B-2, and we're not going to give them a B-2. All right. So there's only one person. There's only one group in the world that can do this, and that's the United States. So are we going to go in and finish the job and get the repercussions that are probably going to come from this? That's why that presidential Doomsday Plane is in D.C. right now, guys. So maybe it's like, I'm about to throat chop you. And they're like, well, I don't want to die. Well, then give everything up. Let us come down into those bunkers and clean all that shit up, and then you continue. But we already know, because they've already said they're not going to do that. For the last 70 years, they haven't done that. So it's not going to go well. It's not going to go well for them. And then it's not going to go well for the people of the world either, guys. But, it's one of those things where, are you going to cut the cancer out, or are you going to let it, just spread all over the body and kill the body? Because that's what the Iranians are going to do. Right? What do you want to do? Who do you want to be? Where you want to go? All right. So it was one of those songs that I used to like sing cadence to. All right, the Bunker Buster bomb. Let's show this. Let's look at this baby. All right, see, here's a human to scale, and there's the Bunker Buster bomb, 30,000 pounds. All right, so this was back in 1910, July 2010. Air Force said on Sunday, July, whatever day, amid concerns of perceived nuclear threats from North Korea and Iran. Woo, they even knew back then. So North Korea is no longer a threat, but Iran is. The massive ordnance penetrator MOP, which is being tested. Blah blah blah. Weight 30,000, explosive load 5,300. That's a powerful load, right? Yeah. And so this is it penetrating a bunker. After releasing the bomb, the carrier aircraft fires a burst of coded laser energy where it reflects off the target's surface. Now, back in the day, and we're talking, I think it was like 82, 83 maybe, we used to have what was called LTDs, laser target designators. And it was like it was a laser rifle. And you would laze a target, and a jet would release a bomb that had a little nose cone that could recognize the laser, and then it would seek it, and it would blow up. So that was way back in the day. And then eventually, like we have now, you can have the pilot, which does this. So you don't have to have people on the ground. You don't have to have boots on the ground anymore. I used to do that. Bomb enters cone of reflected energy, seeking out the most intense area of laser sparkle, and adjusts itself to strike the mark. Bunker Buster combines weight, hardness, and slender profile. See that slender profile? Sleek and lean. It's going to get some good penetration, all right? And it goes penetrate up to 200 feet underground before exploding. I don't know about that. A delay fuse, I've heard 150 feet after it's gone off, after it's blown its load. All right. So I don't know about that. So let's look at some other ones. Here's one I think is a little bit more in depth. No, that's a different Bunker Buster. All right. So there it is. There's the MOP being released by the B-2. It's pretty badass. Let's see. There it is in falling. Let's look at this one. What does it say? Give me bigger. Oh well, not gonna give me bigger. I can't see that. All right. So anyway, you can go look it up. Go look it up. Go use your own. Look how long. That's big. That's big. All right. Oh, that's a Moab. Oh, that's different. Mother of all bombs. Right. How much is that one? We actually use a Moab. It looks like a nuclear bomb's going off when it goes off. I think we use that in Iraq. So the father of all bombs, FOAB. This is the Russians. Let's see. This is much bigger. A FOAB, which stands for father of all bombs, Big Daddy, is a Russian thermobaric weapon. It is a large, powerful, non-nuclear bomb developed by Russia. It is considered the most powerful thermobaric weapon of its kind. So Americans have the mother of all bombs. The Russians have the father of all bombs, which is 4 times more powerful. The FOAB is equivalent of 44 tons of TNT. Blast radius 300 meters. That's a lot. So I think the Hiroshima bomb. So remember that 44 tons, Hiroshima. Bomb, TNT total. 15 kilotons, 15,000 tons of, okay, so that's a lot more. So 15,000. So 44 tons and 15,000. So it's not quite a nuclear bomb, but when it goes off, it looks like one. So anyway, that's the bomb, the mop, the powerful mop, right? So now when something like this potentially goes off, I'll put on my James Kirk, acting. So when the bomb goes off, it's going to cause a problem in the economic world. So we need to be aware of that. And your boy Michael has been saying, you better be in silver. You better be in silver. So every time we've seen some problems in the world, crypto takes a big dive. And the stock market takes a big dive. And then when it starts to level off again, then it all comes back big. And you guys are like, see, I told you, it's going to come back, right? But silver keeps going up, and keeps going up. So let's listen to the #1 best-selling author of silver and gold, Mike Maloney. Mike Maloney is Big Daddy. All right, he's a big daddy of silver investing. Like I said, he wrote the mother of all books on investing in silver all the way back when he was a little boy, right? When I was a little boy. No, I think it was like 2011. He wrote this book that basically talked about silver and the breakout and how it went up to 50. And he talks about how, yeah, it went to 50, but it didn't stay there. It came back down it was like boop, and then it came back down. And it went up to like it was 37, and then it went up, and then it came back down, and then it went boom. It went boom, boom. So he is saying, and a lot of other people are saying, we're going to see triple-digit silver for the first time in history. So we've seen gold over and over and over and over. It's like, again, has reached new highs, but silver has not. So there's a lot of it's all dammed up. It's going to be an explosion, right? Like that bomb. It's going to explode. It's going to be a big explosion. And so silver, when all of this stops, the world stops, everybody gets fearful. We won't be fearful because we don't go there, right? And we have invested in silver, and we're going to watch silver go big, right? So I think that silver goes 70, 75 this year. Next year, 150. If this continues, if the craziness continues, which is a possibility, because a lot of people are going to be whining, and the whiners basically, it's like, get out of the way. It's like when I want you, because you're the problem, Iran, and you're gonna have all the whiners. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Stop. Get out. Don't get out of the way. Get out of the way, idiot. So we have a lot of those. So there's going to be some of that. There's going to be some of that delaying tactics and stupid people getting in the way, like we saw with all these supposed riots we're going to have, on Saturday, which didn't happen. Right? We only have a few, and the usual suspect problem people like Seattle and Portland. But other than that, not so much. Not so much. Was it a test run? I think it was a test run. We're probably going to get a lot. We're going to get a lot worse in cities. We're absolutely going to lose. There's people saying we're going to lose 14 cities. And when I say we're going to lose 14 cities, I'm not like there's going to be some problems there, and there's going to be a little burning, looting. No, these are going to be cities that we will never go back to. We'll never go back to. LA, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, because they will be completely destructed. And maybe that destruction is so toxic that we don't go back there, or maybe it's going to be left destructed as an example for future generations. You like that? I know you like that. So that might be the way it's going to be, right? So we're not talking like, the building falls here and there. It's going to be like complete devastation. So what's going to cause that? I don't know. And a lot of you are like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're going to find out. You're going to F around and you're going to find out. So let's look at silver. Let's not F around and find out. Let's know what's coming and benefit from the coming explosion in silver.
Area. I said that it was going to be making a slingshot move, and it broke 35. And then just a little while later, it broke 36. And now it has broke 37.
So Mike Maloney does not talk Maloney, guys. He is a master. So listen to what he has to say. And at the end, he talks about triple-digit silver.
More importantly, it closed above 37. Let's take a look at a little close-up here. So it was down in the $33 area. Then it broke up to through 34, but it had been at that price before. Then through 35, and then through 36, and now we're getting to prices that haven't happened since 2012, 2011. And the important thing about the close here at 37.12 on stock charts, everybody has slightly different data feeds, and this is the continuous contract on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and there's different futures contracts. So whenever you look at silver, there's several prices available whenever you look at any of the precious metals. But if you go back to late 2011, if I put a...
So we have to go back in time 14 years when there was another, potential problem. So that was time frame where we took out OBL, Osama bin Laden. Your boy Michael was involved with that. You're welcome. And I used a lot of love vibration energy at that, and that's how that happened. But so those of you that think that love is not powerful, it is very powerful. It took that boy out. So it is it is something that we're going to use in the future, and we're going to continue to use that. And those Ayatollahs, they're going to get a lot of love, right? It's time for the love vibration to take those suckers out, right? Mike is like on point, focused on them. So you're going to see him go bye-bye. All right, so 37.12. We haven't seen that for 14 years. 14 years. And we're going to see a lot higher.
Horizontal line here, put it right at this 37. You'll see that it touched this 37 area, except the intraday was 37.42, I believe. But the close that day was down at 34. The day before was an up day, and the close was at 35 something. And so this close at 37.12 means, as far as the close goes, we haven't seen any resistance. It was early in 2011 that it was at these prices before. So the close is very important. But now what we've got left is just this stuff right here. That's all that's left. It's sort of in the way as far as resistance goes.
So he talks about 37.42 is a very prominent, important number. Today, it went up and touched 37.33. So it's inch by inch, step by step. Silver's getting closer to that inflection point where it's going to blast off. Now, it will blast off, and then it will probably go up around 40, and it will pull back, go back and test it, pull back, go back and test it, and then it'll shoot for that 50 mark. And once it gets past that 50 mark, it's going to go nuclear, right? It's going to continue to go up. We're looking at probably 50, 60, 70, and then some. And that's going to take us through the year, and then it's going to continue to go up because we're going to see some problems in the world.
We should get through this pretty quickly here. I am expecting, though, when it gets up toward 48, for it to do a retracement. There's going to be some resistance. There's going to be a lot of selling. There's going to be a lot of professionals taking some profits and so on. And so it'll probably go up and almost hit 50 and then do a pullback. And then it might take another couple of times trying to go up and get past that price. But when it does, I think you're going to see those triple digits that I've been talking about for so long happen pretty darn quickly. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Triple digits coming. Look at that, $200 silver. There's all kind of estimates out there. I've seen $400 and something silver. Right now, the high for silver is the September or February. February 2026. So futures contracts they've been selling 37.98. So the future contracts are already pricing in a close right at 38. Right. So now I've told you guys how to invest. I'm not perfect. My timing is not perfect. I can't time everything for you guys, and this is not investment advice. I'm not an investment professional, but I do exceptionally well. In the last crypto bull run, I became a crypto millionaire for a while, and then it went below that, of course. So I held it. Dumb. So I learned from that. So now in this latest crypto boom, I told you guys now's the time to get in. And I know a lot of you guys got in. I went with XRP, made crazy numbers in XRP and all that stuff. So I got out. I finally got out of my crypto and started doing trading in options. So I'm not a full-time crypto guy. I know there's ups and downs in the market, and I play those. So with the market going up and down. So at some point, this market will collapse. It's not time yet, but it will, and it'll be a great time to do put options and or shorts, so forth. Not yet, not yet. So a lot of people, myself included, got burned when it looked like this market was going to collapse, right? So you have to be nimble. I'm not in anything. I'm not shorting, not doing options. I'm just in silver. So my money that I was making in crypto, it should have, when you look at how much money I made last time the crypto went up, I should have been a multimillionaire, but I wasn't. I just barely got back over that million point and a little bit more, right? So, and then it pulled back, and it's pulled back since. Now, a lot of people think it's going to go higher. Maybe, but I'm not in it. I don't at this point, I don't like to play with things that are highly volatile, which this has been extremely volatile. Silver is not volatile. My silver investment compared to the crypto and the options and so forth is multimillionaire, right? Is multimillionaire. So it's up to you guys. I've been telling you guys to get in silver for years, to dollar cost average into silver. So if you have not gotten into silver, there is still an opportunity. I don't suggest you get into crypto. Some people will tell you, maybe you can make 25% or maybe a little bit more, maybe more. I don't know. But you will at this point, as you heard from the expert, triple digits. Where is it now? 36 triple digits means 3x. Means you're going to get 3 times what you got right now. That's not 25%. That's 300%. Hello? What do you want? What do you want? I want Bitcoin. I want it. I'm 100. It's 105, and I want it to go 125. Okay, good for you. Have fun with that. I love that you're going to make some money, right? But if you want to make a lot of money, maybe not. I don't know. So it's up to you guys, right? So and I have the guy. I have the most expert guy out there with the best deal, Dr. Kirk Elliott. So in the description box, Dr. Kirk Elliott. And another way that you can actually benefit from amazing health and build a business so that you can buy crypto and silver, right? Because at some point it will be time to get back into crypto. But I don't know, because I think we're going to go into a long-term downturn, just like we saw with the. It won't be a long Great Depression, but it's going to be something like it. Right? Do you believe currencies will revalue? I think so, Sophia. So there's talk, and there's talk, and there's talk, and some of that talk is saying, when I say talk, I was like, it's out there. It is saying that the U.S. is going to monetize into precious metals. So precious metals are going up. LifeWave is going up. If you want to get on the choo-choo train that goes to good places, you can. If you want to go to the choo-choo train that breaks down, like the California bullet train to nowhere, it's up to you. All right. All right, guys. Lots of love. Stay in the love vibration. Don't let the knuckleheads out there with their fear mongering get you into like there's going to be nuclear holocaust. I don't think so. Maybe it might happen though this time. I have seen that as it is unfortunately on a timeline, and it hasn't changed. I said it was like 50% chance that we could see a nuke dropped on Israel, and we know what happens if that happens. Israel goes off on Iran. They're going to like nuke the friggin' heck out of it, and that might be one of the reasons why Trump told everybody to get out of Iran. I don't know. Okay, guys, Much love. Stay in the love vibration, and I will see you guys next time.